Care, where emergencies are met with swift attention and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
There you go. It's working now. All right, my name's Colin Worthington. This is the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. We're also streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning we're on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. You can see my handsome young guest here, and I'll introduce you to him right now. And hopefully I won't have to talk too much during this show. I'll throw out some questions, and I'll be short, and then I'll sneeze the rest of the time.
We'll bumble our way through it.
Yes, absolutely, man. This pollen is, I normally don't get it this bad, but I am worn out, and just feels like a big tumor behind my nose. Can't get anything out either. Anyway, James Camp, my guest this morning. He's challenging District 2 Carroll County Schools Board of Education incumbent Sandra Morris in the May 19th general primary election. Advanced voting begins on April the 27th, and if you would like to vote in this election, you must register to vote by April the 20th. Again, James Camp, my guest this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Colin.
And
Thanks for having me on the show. Always a pleasure to
absolutely.
come back on. And
yeah, you've been on the show a few times. I want to
yes, sir.
I think we met about 15 years ago. I mean, I've been doing this gig for 18 years, so I think
we've known each other for a while.
Absolutely.
So it's always been a pleasure, so
yes,
thank you.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Well, first of all, who are you, James Camp? Give us the background, the spiel, the family, the cats, favorite color.
There you go. All right, well, my name is James Camp. I was born in Armurchie, Georgia. Been a Georgia resident my whole life. I moved out here to Carroll County 25 years ago. In 17 of those years, I've lived in the Temple community. I've gotten married here. I've had kids here. I've raised a family here. My son is currently a special needs student in the Carroll County school system, so I have a lot of investment in that and what goes on with him and his education. I've been active, pretty active in the community. I've ran for office 2 previous times out here for state senate and state representative. I've spent the past 20 years as a board member and also an officer of 3 nonprofits, one of them being one of the largest grassroots civil rights organization in the state of Georgia that is active on the Second Amendment front down at the state legislature. So I do spend a good bit of time down at the state capitol lobbying to restore our rights to our citizens. And my reasons for jumping into the race is school board race is one of those that doesn't get a lot of attention, and just looking at what's been going on with the past couple of years of school board, and I'm not calling out anybody in specific, I'm speaking to the school board as a whole, it looks like they don't get enough, they don't have enough accountability, they don't get enough challengers to them, and I think they get kind of complacent with that when they get in there for a while and they think they could just run things the way they want to without being held accountable to the people. And it all started with my son. Like I said, my son has special needs, and he has to attend certain programs at school. And we actually had to get a waiver to go to the school that he goes to now. So he doesn't go to his assigned school. He goes to Sharp Creek. And the reason why he goes to Sharp Creek is because the programs that they had for his specific disability was only offered at Sharp Creek at that time. And so when we started sending him to Sharp Creek, he built a really good rapport with a lot of the educators down there and got to know him really well. They got to know him. They knew what his needs were. They knew his areas that he needed help with developmentally. And just over the years, one thing that concerned me was I saw a lot of high turnover at his school. We have great educators all throughout the district, and it was really breaking my heart to see that some of these educators was great talent just walking out the front door. And kind of probing and trying to figure out why is because they were finding better opportunities elsewhere, better paying opportunities elsewhere. And further looking into it, we're a school district that pays our educators 20% less than what the national average is. And we've got to do something to up that number so we can keep that great talent in our schools. Another thing that I found concerning in looking at the teacher pay, I was looking at what some of our top administrators at the district level were being paid. And I found it deeply concerning, and this isn't to throw shade on the superintendent or anything, but I just found it deeply concerning that we were paying the person in this office 1.5 times more than what the top elected official, the governor in the state, makes. And somebody explained that to me. Why are we paying this individual that much money? And in addition to that, this individual has got like 4 or 5 assistants at the office that he's delegating duties to. Why does he need all these assistants? It seems to me like it's just an egregious waste of money that we're paying for bloat at the top administration level.
James Camp, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. The District 2, I mean, is it basically just a Temple cluster?
It includes Temple Elementary, Providence, Temple Middle, Temple High School, and I'm going to throw Sharp Creek in there because it's right there on the line, even though it's technically is across the street in the next district. But I'm going to throw it in there because a lot of our kids in the Temple area do go to Sharp Creek. Mm-hmm. And I know Sharp Creek, they're proud to be of the Temple cluster. We're proud of them.
When you look at the Carroll County Schools District as a whole, I mean, what do you think is the state? I mean, should we all be proud of the district and their accomplishments?
We should always be proud of our district and their accomplishments. I mean, these educators that are in our schools, they're champions for our children. We need to support them.
16,299 students, 24 schools. Student-teacher ratio is 18-1. Economically disadvantaged 52% of the students. Graduation rate has exceeded 90% for at least the last 7-8 years. And this is something that I always, I see it's, it's eye-catching, but it seems like it is something throughout the whole state too. Proficiency, it says 47% proficient in math, 43% in reading, and I think all our local schools have kind of recently started a focus on that, because I mean that number's got to be alarming.
Yeah, that seems really low in those two areas, and it kind of baffles me that we're low in those areas, but yet we have a pretty high graduation rate. It seems to me like there's some criteria they're not including in the graduation rate or something that reflects those scores. And again, I think I hearken it back to high turnover at our schools. We're losing great talent, and we got to keep that. We got to retain that talent. And, just to be clear, when I use the word educators, I'm talking about not only the teachers that our students interact with, 80 to 90% of their day. I'm talking about the administration at the local schools, the principal, vice principals, all the way down to the lunch ladies, the custodials, even our bus drivers. I consider them all educators because they all have an impact with our students' lives. They interact with them on a daily basis.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, just even thinking about the lunch ladies or lunchmen. I mean, that they're having communication with your child.
Yes.
I mean, they really could impact their day in some way. Just that extra smile when they maybe had a bad day. I mean, that is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Are you pleased with the transparency of the Carroll County Schools District and communication with stakeholders? And maybe you can talk about District 2 in particular.
And again, not singling not singling any particular individual out. I'm not, because there was an issue that came up a couple years ago, and I emailed some people and even tried calling, and I never got a call back in regards to the issue I was inquiring about. And then one of the board members showed up here on this radio station, and I remember calling into the radio station asking that question, and the only answer I would get was, "Oh, well, we have a good relationship with this particular agency." And that's the only response I would get to my inquiry. So I don't feel like there is enough transparency.
I know the state legislators this year talked about giving school systems giving school systems the opportunity to get rid of those cameras outside the schools. They check you for speeding.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was passed. I don't think it was passed though this year. But if the board is given that opportunity to keep those or remove those, I mean, do you think that's a good thing to have those there? Or would you
I do not think it's a good thing to have those. Yeah. I think it's just a revenue generating tool. I think we need, if we're going to control, we should control speeds in the school zones. And if we're going to control the speeds with the school zones, I think we need an actual human being out there doing it, not some camera with somebody that's sitting, who knows where they're at, sitting at some computer 1 mile away, 100 miles away, 500 miles away, watching that camera and issuing tickets. I think we need a post-certified officer out there that's authorized to write tickets to handle that traffic enforcement.
It's $1,000, isn't it? Something like that. It's pretty high there for that.
It's pretty high, and it should be. It
Sure.
should be. Especially if you don't stop for a school bus or pass a school bus, it should be high. You should be punitively punished for that because kids have been killed.
Yeah. What's your view on school choice? And then I guess along those same lines, the Promise Scholarship. There's 4 or 5 schools in the Carroll County Schools District where the students are eligible for that.
Mm-hmm. So I am a big proponent of a school choice. And matter of fact, as I said earlier, we got our son a waiver to go to the school that was benefiting him the most. If we didn't have that choice to send him to the school that he was benefiting the most from, I don't think he would be where he is developmentally today if he was going to his assigned school. I'm also a proponent of the money following the student with the school that they go to, because I believe that when schools can compete with each other to get the students, we see a lot of excellence. I mean, competition is good in the free market. When companies compete with each other, it strives them to do better. It strives them to provide better customer service. It strives them to put out a better product. That same formula I think could work for the schools. When we have schools competing for our students, we'll have a better turnout of our educators to come out and teach our kids. And I think we could boost up some of those areas that we're deficient in.
All right, time right now is 8:40. We'll take our first break, come back and continue our conversation with James Camp. He's challenging District 2 Carroll County Schools Board of Education incumbent Sandra Morris. May 19th is Election Day. Advanced voting begins on April the 27th. This morning's program brought to you by Zyrtec and Oak Mountain Academy and Tanner Health here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
8:42. Welcome back to the Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. My name's Colin Worthington. My guest this morning, James Camp. He is running for Carroll County Schools Board of Education, District 2, as he lives in that Temple area. We did talk about your interest in seeking this seat back in the first segment, but you pointed out to me during the break there's something else you wanted to talk about.
Right. So, in addition to the foregoing reasons, really the straw that broke the camel's back was this right here. And just, I don't know if it was fate, I don't know if it was coincidence, but during the week of qualifying, my son, who proudly anybody that has kids knows that their kids look up to their parents as their heroes, pretty much. And my son has
until they're 12, and then it's all over.
Then it's all over once they hit teenagers. And my son, he's really enamored with my activism on the Second Amendment front, and so he's went to some conventions with me and stuff. And this is a shirt that he got at one of the conventions, and you can see it's a pretty harmless shirt. It just says the word Glock on it. Well, anyway, he's proud of this shirt. He was proud that it was given to him, and he wanted to go wear it to school one day. And I said, that's fine. You know, there's no depiction of violence or anything on it. You can see there's nothing on the back. And he was stopped in his school, and he was told that he cannot wear this, that he's not old enough to wear this, and that it promotes violence because it is made by a firearms company. And so they made him cover this shirt up. And when they called and told me, I called my lawyer and told my lawyer what was going on, and he said, no, that is incorrect. That the Supreme Court has ruled in Tinker versus City of Des Moines Independent School System that a student's First Amendment rights do not stop at the schoolhouse gates. And as long as they're not wearing something that is maliciously distractive, like showing actual violence or something on it, they can wear a shirt that promotes a company or promotes a product. It's well within their First Amendment rights. Now, I don't blame the educators at the school for doing it. They're just following policy that was set at the district level. Bad policy at that. And who is responsible for setting policy? It's the Board of Education. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back when I said, you know what? This anti-American indoctrination that we're teaching in our schools, that we're forcing on our kids, has got to stop. Enough is enough. And that's when I went down to the district office and qualified to run for this seat in District 2.
James Camp, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. You talk about, we think about the books and things that the Board of Education does. There's been talk about kind of whitewashing the January 6th story. How do you think that should be told, or should that not be told in schools?
It should be told. It's part of history. You know, whether you agree with it or whether you're against it, you know, it's part of the political history of this country. It needs to be taught. And that's the same. You know, that whitewashing it would be the same as, you know, Nazis burning books and, you know, starting at year zero, you know, wiping away all history.
Mm-hmm. Announcement that Scott Coward's retiring at the end of June. The district is initially looking internally for their next superintendent, and these are people who theory understand, you know, where the school has been and how it's grown and the intentions of the current administration. Are you for that when they began the search internally?
I am. I think promoting internal growth within your company, and I'm speaking from a business perspective of, you know, companies that I work for, promoting internal growth and giving people the ability to advance and move up is a positive thing in any organization. And so I'm very much for if we have somebody that the board thinks in the district that is able to take over those reins from Mr. Cowart and is a good fit for that position, I think they should be considered.
And these are people in our community that we all know, the parents know and stakeholders know.
We're not bringing somebody from the outside that doesn't know our community.
Yeah, take a while to.
So I'm very much in favor of that. You know, we should promote growth opportunities. We should promote that. We should show that the people that work in the district, like, yeah, you can move up in here. You're not going to be stuck in the same position. You know, we should foster that culture of personal growth.
I'd say over the last 20 years, as educators and principals and, you know, superintendents, if they go on Facebook, they're going to read over and over again about how bad a person they are and how stupid they are, and, you know, and the things that are going on in the school that, you know, you can never really confirm. But enough at times I see that there's, you know, claim that there's a bullying problem at some of the district's schools.
Right.
I mean, perhaps if it happens once, it could be a problem, but. I mean, is this something that the school system or the Board of Education can address, and how would they? Or is this more of a, hey, we're growing up. I mean, I'm sorry that your kids picked on because you had a runny nose one day or whatever. I mean, is it something that can be addressed, or is it just we have to accept it?
Well, my son has been a victim of bullying, and a lot of times it happened when teachers weren't looking, and sometimes it's happened when a teacher was looking, and really it was just kind of slap on the hand or something like that. And I told my son going into school, I said, with your disability, you're going to get picked on. And part of his the help with his developmental disabilities, it was recommended by his PT to enroll him in a martial arts. So we enrolled him in Taekwondo. And so that's kind of been a double-edged sword there. It's not only helped him with his cerebral palsy, but it's also helped him be confident enough to stand up for himself. Yeah. Last year, he was attacked by his bully on the playground. The bully came up to him and slapped him in the face. My son stood on business on that day and planted that boy's butt in the ground, and that kid has not bothered him since.
Josh stood up and applauded.
the Georgia Supreme Court has ruled that students do have a right to stand their ground and defend themselves in public school, and they cannot be punished for it. So that's the first thing we need to get rid of, because in talking with people out in the community, they've told me that their kid's been bullied, and when they stood up to the bully, they were the ones that got in trouble, not the bully.
It's kind of like the penalty flag in football. The first one is usually not the one penalized; it's the guy that goes after the second one, because that's the one they see.
Yeah,
mostly the other one's kind of being sneaky.
Yeah, and we need to have harsher punishments for bullying. And if that doesn't work, we need to start holding parents accountable. I think with the whole Appalachia thing, and I know this is kind of different, but it's kind of the same. Well, we got shown there that the courts held the father of that child, accountable for what he did at school. And I think that's something we could probably do with bullying too, start holding parents accountable. It's like, hey, you need to teach your child to be a good, productive member of society and not pick on and not be malicious to other kids. And if you can't do that, there's something we're going to step in and, either do something punitively or, to hold you accountable for it.
Data centers, that's been a big topic in Carroll County over the last few months. There was a group that showed interest, actually, I think in District 2 is where they would have put it, that data center.
Right.
It would bring significant money to Carroll County in tax revenues, but people have, expressed that they're not happy about having it there. Potential right. for, contaminating the water and all, and, right. and the environment and everything. So they haven't been happy about that. How do you weigh that? How would you weigh that as a Board of Education member? Are you gonna be open to the possibility of bringing all that tax revenue, which could benefit the schools, or are you just like no, and because the community doesn't want that?
Okay, well. Full-on transparency here. I do work in IT, and the company I do work for, we do have data centers around the globe, actually. We're an international company. We got one in Atlanta that I sometimes have to go to do work. So my work does involve working at data centers from time to time. With that being said, the Temple communities, Center Point especially, where this was going to be put, have been very vocal in saying they do not want a data center there. And I agree with them. I don't want a data center there. I don't want a data center in Carroll County. Now, granted, we do have like Fogo down in
right.
Carrollton City, but that's relatively small. We're talking about something that's like gargantuan, the size of a couple of warehouses. And in fact, the data center that my company has in Atlanta, when you drive by it looks like a big warehouse. And they are noisy because they got generators, and then they got the cooling systems on top of them to keep everything cool. And the thing with the water, that is a concern. They do use a lot of water, but once they get the water in there, they recycle that same water. So it's not like they're continuously drawing water. But besides the point, the people of the community have been clear. They do not want data centers. And part of the reasons why I live out here in Carroll County is because I wanted to get away from the city. I love how rural Carroll County is. I want Carroll County to stay rural. I don't want Metro Atlanta out here, even though, the ARC considers us Metro Atlanta. I don't agree with that. And we are an ag community, and that's what we need to stick to, is being an ag community. That's what sustains our county and our community. And if I was elected to be a board member, I would not support any tax abatements or tax credits or anything to encourage those kind of companies to come out here and build. Part of my governing philosophy is that the government should not be picking winners and losers. And when you offer tax abatements or tax credits to one certain group of people or entity, you're encouraging winning and losing. The government is picking winners and losers, and I don't agree with that. If we're going to do any kind of tax break or tax benefit, it needs to be all or none, so everybody can enjoy that.
And you think about it, the people, the businesses that have been here for 20, 30 years, they get a little frustrated when they see a new business come in and they get a
tax break, and they didn't get one.
They didn't get one, so yeah. Sticking with data centers before we go to a break, when the data centers when they show interest in Carroll County, they're gonna court the Board of Education for their support, and they say, hey, we're going to show you this, but you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So that's not really being transparent, but so the Board of Education can't talk about it at all. Would you sign that?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And so you would not get to see it, but you could tell your constituents that, hey, they're planning on doing that. If you were interested.
Right. Again, one of the reasons for jumping into this race is for transparency and accountability. And if the school board sees it and they know about it, our residents of the community need to know about it.
Time right now is 8:54. We're going to take our final break and come back hopefully with about 4 minutes here with James Camp, candidate for District 2 on the Carroll County Board of Education. Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Do the math. At Oak Mountain Academy, our average graduating class has just 12 students. We celebrate a 100% graduation rate with more than $10.5 million in college scholarships offered. Plus, 96% of our students are accepted into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
All right, 8:55 Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy. Colin Worthington, guest is James Camp. He's running for a District 2 seat on the Carroll County Board of Education. Did have a comment here from a lovely young lady named Carolyn. She says, you're doing a great job bringing attention to the failures of public education. I think any elected official does need term limits. I guess the existing board member, I believe she's been in there, was it 4 times maybe?
16 years.
16
Yeah,
years.
so 4 times.
So I assume that's what she's referencing. All right, Georgia legislators this year, they proposed Georgia property tax caps, and it could be just because it was an election year, but they also talked about increasing private school voucher funding. Both of those would threaten to reduce revenue for public schools. How should a district address that? You raise the millage rate? Do you remove positions? Are there programs that you would seek to cut?
Okay, so most everybody, I think, is pretty much aware of the statewide homestead exemption that the state legislature passed. What was it, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And the school system chose not to opt into it, and their reasoning was that it would cause like a $20 million shortfall in their budget. And one of the things that I had proposed in my campaign is having bringing in some outside eyes to look at this budget and see where money's being wastefully spent. I'm an IT person, and when we get on a big job that has an issue that we can't see, we bring in a second set of eyes to look to see what we're missing. And a lot of times, 90% of the time, that fixes the issue for us because they point out something that we missed. And I think this same approach could be applied to the budget. I know there's some wasteful spending going on. You probably remember, what was it, a couple of years ago, one of the papers reported that a bunch of tablets that belonged to the school system was found in a dumpster somewhere. Perfectly good working tablets just thrown away. I mean, that's just an egregious waste of taxpayer money. I think that stuff like that we can identify in the budget and say and take that money and reallocate it to help with some of these shortfalls that might happen, and also help throw some to our educators so we can pay them more.
District 2 has the Carroll County school system has 2 college and career academies. Are there any occupations or educational opportunities that not yet offered that you think should be offered there? I mean, based on, jobs that are popular at the moment. I don't know if they have an IT one. I mean, I figured you would probably lean into that, but I mean, I assume that they probably do.
To be open about that, I haven't really researched that. That's something that I'll have to research and provide an opinion on. So, my fault there that I haven't looked into that.
All right, so my last question here, James. Are you a supporter of the education special purpose local option sales tax and how the money has been spent in the past?
Yeah, traditionally I'm not a supporter of any SPLOST, and the reason being is I am not in favor of giving the government a blank check for money to do whatever they want.
They do put proposals on there, but they propose what they will. I think for the most part, it's pretty definite what they spend that on. But there are some phrases they can use to, save it to you.
Yeah, they're kind of vague what they're going to spend it on. No. I'm a fan of if you need this extra capital to spend on projects, we need to have it line item, showing exactly what it is that needs to be spent on.
All right, you got 1 minute. You're going door to door, and I'm leaving, and I got the baby in the hand, you got coffee in the other, and I'm late for work. Got to drop the kid off at the babysitter. But this is the only time you're going to have a chance to talk to me for a minute.
Yes,
what are you going to tell me as far as considering you to vote for you?
Well, sir, I feel like there hasn't been a lot of accountability with the school board as a whole. I feel like these people they've gotten entrenched in their position because the school board is one of the most often overlooked races, and it doesn't get a lot of challengers. And I feel that these people, again, like I said, have gotten entrenched in that position, and they kind of do what they want without being held accountable to the people. I'm here to bring accountability to that. I'm here to show that some of us are watching, some of us are paying attention, and we will take you to task. We will challenge you, and we will hold you accountable. And I am that accountability person on the ballot for May 19th.
If I didn't ask any questions here that people were curious about, they have a way of contacting you, Facebook page, website?
Yes, sir. I'm on Facebook. You can also call me. My number is 404-402-7919. I'll say that again, 404-402-7919. You can also reach me at email jcamp@ga2a.org.
James Camp, challenger for the District 2 Carroll County Schools Board of Education seat, challenging incumbent Sandra Morris. May 19th is the general primary election. However, advanced voting begins April 27th, and if you want to make sure you can vote in this election, you must register to vote by April 30th. James, good to see you. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to this morning's Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.